Hi, and welcome to Grade Gov News. Well, the elections are over, and Barack Obama is our president for the next 4 years. So what's next? Well, Congress comes back this week. Congress comes back after the elections, and Speaker Boehner had a press conference this week and said he felt like the elections were a mandate for the Congress and the president to work together. Well, work together on what? The fiscal cliff. And the fiscal cliff is about to happen the beginning of January, and it has huge, huge ramifications. What's in the fiscal cliff? Well, the across-the-board sequester, the across-the-board cuts in all of our agencies, but remember, the Department of Defense gets cut the harshest of any of them. That occurs at the beginning of January, close of business January 1 of 2013, and it is the result of the failed super committee and the failed debt deal of August of 2011. As a result of them being Congress, not being able to find the cuts, the across-the-board cuts, the sequester occurs, and as I said, it occurs in January of 2013. Then you've got the expiration of the Bush tax cuts. This occurs in January 1 of 2013 also. And these are really tax deductions that we have been enjoying since 2001 and 2003. They expire January 1 of 2013 also. You've also got the appropriations process, the funding of our federal government, the continuing resolution, as it's called, or the omnibus appropriations bill. This is the giant bill that funds our federal government, all of our agencies of our federal government. It funds it only until the end of March. So in other words, our Department of Defense would run out of money, our Department of Agriculture would run out of money, and so on and so on. And then it's expected that the president will have to come to Congress and ask for an increase in the debt limit, our borrowing authority. He needs to write checks to pay our debt. That will expire. We're expecting that the Treasury will bump up to the debt ceiling by the middle or the end of February. All of this happens in the first 90 days beginning in January. And then you have the alternative minimum tax. That's been adjusted for years and years. That needs to be adjusted. And then you also have what is called the doctor's fix, the doc fix. And this is basically extending repayment to doctors at 100%, because right now, as of January, when the doctors see a Medicare patient, let's use, for example, $1. If it costs them $1 to see a Medicare patient, and they submit that bill to the federal government wanting their dollar back, they would only get 73 cents. They'll be cut 27%. So Congress has been extending it's called the doc fix. They've been extending the payments to the doctors, making them whole. They've been doing this for years. That also expires. All of this stuff expires at the end of the year, with the exception of the appropriations process, and it's all very, very expensive. So that's what the Speaker was talking about when he said he thought there was a mandate, that the elections gave him and the President a mandate to work together. Now, the President had a press conference this week also, and he said that he would be willing to extend all of the Bush tax cuts for 1 year, except for those people making over $250,000. This proposal actually passed the Senate in July 25th, I believe, and the vote was 51 to 48. But then the House of Representatives quickly, August 1, defeated it. So it has passed the Senate, that proposal. Now, will the Speaker start negotiating on entitlement reform? We've heard him talk about that. We've heard of tax reform, comprehensive tax reform. And will this deal lead to a two-part deal that maybe allows for a bill in the beginning or the middle or early spring of next year that would come before Congress that would deal with tax reform, that would deal with entitlement reform? We'll see. What else happens this week? Well, the President has said he wants to meet with the leadership of Congress the middle of the week, and this will be the first time that the leaders of the House and the Senate have met with the president in months, and it is such a welcome meeting. That'll happen this week, and also Wednesday of this week, the Senate Republicans will elect their leadership for the 113th Congress, and the Senate Democrats will do the same. The House Republicans will elect their leadership for the 113th Congress. But interestingly enough, the minority leader in the House, former Speaker Nancy Pelosi, she asked that the Democratic House leadership elections be postponed until after Thanksgiving. There's a lot of speculation as to whether she'll run for the minority leadership again. She won her re-election, her new 2-year term, and she has said she'll fulfill that leadership role of a 2-year term. But will she run as the Democratic leader of the House? I guess we'll have to wait until after after Thanksgiving. And then what will they have on their plate? What will Congress have to do besides the fiscal cliff? They have not done a Department of Defense authorization bill. They desperately need to do that. Will they add on cybersecurity provisions to the Department of Defense authorization bill? I say that they have to do that. It has been 51 years in a row that Congress has done a Department of Defense authorization bill. This is the bill that authorizes all of the programs in the Department of Defense. Be hard to imagine that they wouldn't do one this year. Does some cybersecurity legislation get added to that? And then you have the Farm Bill. The House and the Senate also need to do a Farm Bill. It expires, and if the farm programs expire, then the farming programs will revert back to programs from the 1940s. It looks like that will also be something that the Congress will have to do in this November-December lame duck session. And will they add FEMA money? Will they add disaster money? After the devastating storm of Sandy that hit the northeast of our country, there are now rumors that FEMA needs money. Will they add disaster relief money to the Farm Bill? Will any of this be paid for? Will they have to pay for it, or will the Democrats in Congress insist that it not be paid for? There's a lot coming up. There's a lot coming up in November and December in Congress. So stay tuned. I'm looking forward to talking to you again, hopefully more often than a week. But in the meantime, always listen to GradeGov Radio. You can find it on the radio tab on the homepage of gradegov.com. And in the meantime, thank you for listening and stay tuned.